Hi readers! Are you ready to do some more learning together? Today we will be setting purpose, reading a new engagement text and a new decodable reader.
Materials!
Let's put our thinking caps on. Are you ready? Here are today's 3 learning targets. Using evidence from the text, I can answer questions about the story Looking for Mars. I can read high-frequency words and words that don't play fair. And I can read the decodable text Looking for Mars. Let's get started.
Transition song!
It's time to hear a story, a story, a story. It's time to hear a story and say what you've learned.
Read aloud.
It's time for you to settle in and listen to our new engagement text, Looking for Mars. Listen carefully and imagine what's happening in the story. When I'm finished reading, we'll talk about it together. Here it is. James looks out the window, and what does he see? It is the moon. Look, it is smiling at me, says James. This gives James an idea. James grabs Pat by the hand and says, "Pat, you are in for a treat." It is dark. It is not storming tonight, so the sky is clear. It is time to see Mars. Pat clasps her hands and says, "Let's go!" Pat and James start to walk to the park. It is not warm, so they go back and grab a scarf for Pat. James puts on Granddad's hat, and it is way too big on him. That makes Pat giggle as they walk down the street. "It is a short walk to the park," says James, "but it is a long way to the stars." When they get to the park, they look up in the dark. "There are so many stars," says James. "There is the North Star." But it is hard for Pat to see the star. "Mars is so far away. Look for the red. Just look very hard," says James. But it is still hard for Pat to see. She does not see Mars. She does not see the North Star. James and Pat go to the yard in the park, away from the streetlights. "We can see more stars here in the dark," says James. Pat stands on a log to make herself tall. "That is better," says James. Then Pat grabs his arm. "Mars!" says Pat. "I knew you could see it," says James. "I go to bed with stars?" asks Pat. "No, we can't sleep out here tonight, Pat. That would not be safe, and it would be too cold. But we will do it again," says James. Pat waves her little hand into the dark. "Bye, stars. Bye, Mars." As Pat and James leave the park, Pat takes his arm. "I have fun looking for Mars for a while." The moon follows them home, still wearing a smile.
Question and answer.
I hope that you enjoyed that story. Let's talk about it together. When James looked out the window, what did he see? He saw the moon. Why did James and Pat have to go back to the house after they left? They needed a scarf for Pat, and James grabbed a hat. What did James mean when he said Pat was in for a treat? He meant that he had a surprise for her that she would get to see Mars. What did the author of this story mean when the author wrote, "The moon followed them home"? It meant that James and Pat were able to see the moon for their entire walk home. Thank you for listening so carefully to this story.
Transition song.
Now it's time to learn high frequency words together. It's time to learn the words readers and writers use a lot.
Word work.
Let's spend a few minutes looking at some new high frequency words. Here is the first one. This word does not play fair. This word is again. We would expect that vowel team AI would say A. But that's not what we hear. Instead, we hear eh. Repeat this word after me one more time. Again. Here is another high frequency word. This word is by. The word by is a homophone. The word sounds the same, but it has a different meaning depending on how it is spelled. When by is spelled B-Y-E, it is a short way to say goodbye. You'll see this word by in the decodable book that we'll read together today. Our next high frequency word is could. The word could does not play fair. The OU vowel team does not say ow like we would expect. Let's say this word again together. Could. The next word is would. You can hear that would rhymes with the word could. This word, would, does not have to do with something that is made of wood. You could use this word in a sentence like, would you like to play with me? You can hear that the OU in the word would does not sound like ow, like we would expect. The next word is does. It doesn't play fair either. We'll just have to lock this word into our brain. Say it again with me. Does. This next word, new, does play fair. You might remember that when the K comes before the N, the K is silent and we just hear the N. The word new has the vowel team EW that sounds like ooh. If we put these sounds together, we have n, ooh, new. This word is another homophone. When new is spelled K-N-E-W, it is the past tense of know, as in, I know which way to go. The next word is just. This word does play fair. Thank goodness. Let's tap this word out. Just. Just. The last word you'll be looking for today is or. Or is a very small word. It has an R-controlled vowel, just like we've been talking about. The R controls the O, so together they say or.
Read aloud.
This story is based on the engagement text that we read together earlier. As we read, I want you to be listening and looking for our new high-frequency words. We'll see which ones you spot as we read together. You will also hear and see many words that have an R-controlled vowel, where the AR says R and the OR says or. As a reminder, the high-frequency words that you'll be looking for are again, by, could, would, does, knew, just, and or. Remember to touch your nose when you spot one. Let's get reading. It is dark. There is no storm. It is time to see Mars. Pat and James start to go to the park, but it is not warm, so they get a scarf for Pat. It is a short way to the park, but it is a long way to the stars. There are so many stars, says James. There is the North Star. It is hard for Pat to see. Mars is so far. Look for the red. Just look very hard, says James. Did you see or hear a high frequency word on this page? Just. It is still hard for Pat to see. She does not see Mars or the North Star. What word did you spot here? Does. James and Pat go to the yard in the park. We can see more stars in the dark, says James. Then Pat grabs his arms. Mars, says Pat. I knew you could see it, says James. I saw 2 words here. What did you find? Knew and could. I go to bed with stars? Asks Pat. No, that would not be safe. But we will do it again, says James with a smile. What new words did you spot or hear on this page? Would and again. I did it, Pat says. Bye, stars. Bye, Mars, says Pat. What did you find here? The word bye is on this page 2 times.
Closing reflection.
What tools did you use to help you read our new story, Looking for Mars? I hope you are thinking about reading and finding our new high frequency words. Again, by, could, would, does, knew, just, and or. And I bet you are practicing reading words with those R-controlled vowels, AR and OR. You did some amazing reading. I can't wait to continue our work together next time. See you soon!